女士们、先生们，我们的大会将于3分钟后开始，请将您的手机调至静音状态。Ladies and gentlemen, the program will begin in 3 minutes. Please switch your phone to silent and take your seat. 女士们、先生们，我们的大会即将开始，请您尽快就座。Ladies and gentlemen, the program is beginning. Please be seated. 女士们、先生们，让我们有请 Google 大中华区总裁 Scott Beaumont 先生上台演讲。Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage President of Sales and Operations, Google Greater China, Scott Beaumont.
"大家好，欢迎来参加Google开发者大会。我是徐博蒙。2013年，我和家人来到中国。在中国的生活让我们着迷，尤其当我们全家在国内旅游，我们可以看到很多东西都有创新，很多细节都有进步。Okay, time to change channel. 不好意思，我的中文还不够好。It's great to see you all here. And as I said, one of the things that I really love doing when I'm in China is traveling the country. You really get to see the signs of progress, the innovation, and the pace of change. And actually, the developer community, you all here in the room and on the live stream, this is what you represent. And today, is actually part of today is to celebrate your achievements and to congratulate all of you and to give you the opportunity to mix together. It's also an opportunity to talk to you about how Google can help you develop your ideas and can help you go global. And we're going to explore that a great deal over the course of today and the breakout sessions. For those of you who work with us already, hopefully we inspire you to even greater heights. And for those of you who don't know us yet, today should be a good day. Okay, first off, let's talk a little bit about something you all know very well, which is digital China. It's said that every 7 minutes in China, a new business is created. And 50% of those businesses are digital only. We live in a market where over half the population is online, and 92% are using the web through their mobile devices. And actually, the great majority of those are using the web only via their mobile phone or their mobile phone as their preferred method of access. We live in a market which is one of the biggest markets worldwide in terms of app installs. And users aren't just idly, casually browsing. They're using the phone to engage and to transact in huge numbers. Just look recently for one example, Singles Day. Again, this year, huge growth, an astonishing event on a global scale. 83% of all the transactions on Singles Day were via the mobile phone. If you were to compare that to Black Friday or Cyber Monday in the US, the corresponding number is 35%. Why is this important? You know this already. It's important because when you think about it, you are developing in one of the most advanced markets in the world with some of the most advanced consumers in the world. And so you are ready to go global. When you look at app usage around the world, app usage is doubling year on year. Users are spending about an hour a day in apps. And when you combine that with high growth that we see in markets such as Indonesia or Brazil or India or Vietnam, there is huge opportunity for all of you to take your ideas beyond China. And we're going to explore some of the products, the tools, the services that you can use from Google to help you do that today. We're going to talk about things like Sandhill. Sandhill is a project within Google where we connect with the venture capital community and we explore with them their investments and think about which of the developers they're working with could benefit from Google's tools. The goal being for the entrepreneur to go bigger, faster, cheaper, so actually your equity is worth an awful lot more. We're going to have a panel on that later on today. I could talk to you also about 5 Miles. 5 Miles is a developer based here in Beijing and actually co-located now in the US. A great team. They have a mobile classifieds app. But their browse product wasn't as good, and it was causing a lot of leakage. They couldn't convert people from their first impression of 5 Miles into the app. And so we worked with 5 Miles, and we created what we call a progressive web app. And it creates an app-like experience in the browser. The results are startling. The bounce rates halved, and the conversion rates increased by over 60%. Even outside of product, we hope we can be useful. I could talk to you about Meitu. Meitu is a photo editing app that many of you no doubt use. They were interested in Indonesia as one of those high-growth markets, very mobile-ready markets, but they didn't know anything about Indonesia. We were able to put them in contact with our team on the ground to give them a little bit of insight in terms of the operating environment, the regulatory situation, how users interacted with devices, where to find those users, what those users might cost. And as a result of that, they were able to make a far more educated decision in terms of whether or not Indonesia was right for them. These examples and more you're going to hear throughout the keynote and throughout the different breakouts during the day. It's really a celebration of your entrepreneurship. Actually, though, I'm going to give you one more example. And I'm actually going to focus on gaming. To be honest, I have lots of choice. Chinese app developers lead the way, whether we're talking about lifestyle apps, productivity apps, entertainment apps, but gaming in particular is a very hot area. We've seen 150% growth in mobile gaming revenues over the last 2 years. And it is actually an entertainment giant. It's 2.5 times the size of the movie business. A lot of this, of course, is built on the Android platform, which is the most scaled platform globally. And actually within Android, as a way of reaching users, you have Google Play, which can reach consumers in over 190 markets worldwide. Elex knew that. Elex, the creators of Clash of Kings, built their app in China for China. A multiplayer game, fantastic fun. But they could actually see that they could connect with consumers all around the world. And they've done so to tremendous effect. In fact, let's hear from them directly. Let's play the video.
因为星通呢是一家非常有趣的公司，它颠覆了我们之前很多的制作游戏的一些理念。在这里边呢，我们学到了很多新的东西。安卓平台的优势是在于说它非常开放，它也非常友好，特别灵活的便于我们进行一些客户端方面的一些管理，也便于我们对游戏当中的内部管理进行很好的支持。 评级和评价这个系统对我们来说非常有帮助的。那我们透过评级和评价这个，可以拿到玩家真实的反馈，对于我们来说是非常非常重要的。
最早的时候，我们5个北航的学生是希望做一些中国式的创新，能够把这些创新带到全球市场去。知名星通的全球化呢，更多的是第一步呢，走出大陆这个板块，怎么样去东南亚。 在这些区域获得用户成本是比较低的，谷歌或者安卓这个平台上大量的用户群体帮助我们先第一步能卖出去。第二步是怎么样走到欧美这个板块里面去。谷歌在这些区域有非常大的市场份额，我们的用户群体还是高付费的用户，因为它有配套的资源能帮助我们去做这个 marketing 所有的环节。第三步是最难的部分，如何在一些更困难的市场能够去扎入，比方说日本，还有包括中东这些市场。 我们现在在第3阶段，跟谷歌也做了很多样的合作。我们在很多区域做1元购物的活动，帮助我们极大的去提升了付费率。我们很多礼品卡的活动，让非付费用户能够有机会去体会到付费用户的乐趣，从而增加我们的付费用户的群体。我们跟谷歌一起做了很多的线上和线下的游戏周的活动，让游戏玩家在线上或者线下参与到这些游戏的其他的乐趣里面来，从而提升用户对于游戏的参与度。 我们的目标是想做世界顶级的游戏公司，所以我们要在安卓这个平台上风靡。我们有我们自己的一套方法，有一些精品的理念，通过快速迭代的过程去实现我们的梦想。
Very good. It's stories like these that really inspire us and motivate the teams within Google. So it's... Hopefully you can still see me. And there are many more examples, and you saw some of the products and services that we brought to bear for Elex. You're going to hear from Ben and Naomi about still more of those as we go forward. Before I hand over, let me just reflect again. Thank you all for coming, welcome you here, and also remind you the GDD events, the developer events that we run both here in Beijing and Shanghai, or the events we run in China generally, are the largest such events that we run in the whole of Asia Pacific. As a consequence of that, you've got a lot of Googlers in the room. You've got Googlers in the room from our local offices here in Shanghai and Beijing. You have team members from around Asia, and you've got a lot of our product team also across from the US. Please take advantage of it. Speak to us. What do you need? What's the killer feature that you're missing? What is the product that you'd like to see? What is the niggle that you have in the everyday that you would like to see corrected? Talk to us. Help us make us better in order to serve you better. We want to bring your ideas to life, and we want to help you go global. Very good. Shall we get started? Let me hand over to Ben to begin our product journey. 谢谢大家。
下面有请 Google 全球开发者产品总监 Ben Galbraith 先生上台。Please welcome to the stage Director of Product Management, Google Developer Group, Ben Galbraith.
Pleasure to be here with you this morning. 我是 Ben. That's all the Chinese I can manage this morning. It's a pleasure to be with you. I've had the opportunity to visit China 3 times this year, and I have loved coming here. In fact, recently, this past summer, I was able to bring my wife and our 8 children to travel throughout East Asia. Thank you. My family would spend their days learning Mandarin in immersion school while I met with developers, and then in the evenings, we'd get together and experience the wonders of China and other countries in the region. It's well known that the Chinese developer community is world-class in your talent and your skill. But I've been particularly impressed in the time that I've spent here with the warmth and the friendliness of the people that I've met. It's truly a pleasure for me to be able to spend time with you, and I wish that those of you on the live stream could be here with me as well. We're on a mission at Google to make developers successful, to help them succeed at what they're doing. And we've been investing in helping developers here in China. For example, back in May, we partnered with Youko and LETV to stream our Google I/O keynote here in China. And over 1 million of you tuned in to hear our latest announcements. I was thrilled with the participation that we saw. We also have many local events and training programs happening on the ground here. You can stay connected to all of this through our WeChat account called Google Developers. We've really enjoyed having this channel to stay connected with the developer community. Our teams have absolutely loved using it. Please follow along with us. I think we have a QR code for it that we'll show in a moment. So you can follow right now on WeChat. I'm also pleased to announce this morning that we've just launched 3 developer sites on China domains, each with content in simplified Chinese. And we've created a section that showcases the technologies that are most relevant to local Chinese developers and that showcase our local developer programs. And we're also announcing this morning that we're bringing our Google Developer Agency program here to China, which offers certifications to those agencies that are building the highest quality apps. And I think it's going to be a great way for us to connect top quality development shops with businesses that are looking for a trusted partner. This is just a sampling of what we're doing to support Chinese businesses and developers. Now I want to shift gears and talk to you about some of the technologies that we've been working on. I want to start with the web. So for the past year or so, we've been focused on making the web fantastic on mobile. This is about expanding the web's capabilities, and it's also about making the web really fast. Now, we've done a ton of work in this area, including enhancing our own Chrome web browser, working with web standards bodies, and launching many, many new products to help developers. This morning, I want to focus on two of these initiatives that we've launched to help web developers. First, we've worked together with the web community to develop and promote something that we call progressive web apps, or PWAs for short. In addition to service workers, PWAs include many other notable new capabilities. I'm going to go through a few of them. One, it gives you native-like background notifications, and these work even when the browser is closed, which brings it up to par with native apps. PWAs also give users a new, easy way to add an icon shortcut to your web experience to their launcher, just like with native apps. And it's one of the things that helps users keep coming back to these PWA experiences. They also offer a new sign-in experience that enables web sessions to persist much longer than before, similar to with native apps, so users don't have to log in as often into your experience. And they integrate with the new Web Payments API, which gives us a powerful new way to make buying things through a web browser really friction-free and really easy. In addition to these benefits, PWAs use HTTPS all the time for enhanced security, and if you do it right, they can have buttery smooth 60 frames per second updates to your user interface, which makes them really, really fun to use. And they can resize gracefully to displays of all shapes and sizes. PWAs are truly the next generation of the web. Developers who have made PWAs are seeing great results. Scott just told you about 5 Miles, which is a great case study. I want to talk to you about Alibaba. We're all familiar with Alibaba's incredible success worldwide in over 200 countries. They're one of many world-class Chinese innovators. They recently built a PWA, and it led to a 76% increase in conversion for their web users, which is a fantastic improvement. And because they implemented features like add to home screen and used the push notifications that I described, they've brought their re-engagement, a measure of how often users keep coming back to that experience on the web, up to the same level as it was for their native app. All right, so that's PWAs. The second initiative I want to talk to you about is called Accelerated Mobile Pages. We just call it AMP for short. And while PWA was about expanding the capabilities of web browsers, AMP is really more about streamlining what we do with the web to deliver a trimmed-down, open-source web format that loads instantly. It works by defining a subset of HTML and using web components to create a set of HTML that loads without blocking on any network resources. So it shows up instantly, and the images in JavaScript load asynchronously, and you're guaranteed when you use AMP that none of these resources, as they load, will cause the web page to have to repaint itself. We call it a reflow, when it has to lay itself out again because something that's loaded has caused it to change its layout. As a result, these things create just a really fast experience that pulls users in. We found that over 700,000 domains are now serving at least one AMP page, and it's compatible with more than 70 ads and analytics solutions, which are important as you monetize and measure what's happening on your site. Many popular web platforms like WordPress, Drupal, Squarespace, and Shopify have integrated AMP into their platforms, which makes it super easy for you to take your content and make it AMP compatible. And these are just web pages, so anyone can host them, but we've created something called the Google AMP Cache, which is a free global caching service for all AMP content. Anyone can use this thing, and it's another one of the ingredients that makes AMP really fast, because when they're hosted with this cache, pages load even faster than if users pulled them from the origin servers. We're seeing a lot of industry adoption of AMP pages, with sites like Bing, Twitter, Pinterest, and of course our own Google search linking to AMP pages and using the AMP cache when available. We're also continuing to evolve AMP. We're working with e-commerce companies such as eBay to take what we've done and to expand its capabilities to work even better in domains like e-commerce. And one of my favorite things is that we've integrated AMP and PWAs together, which when you think about it, is a pretty compelling combination. Because with AMP, we can serve a page instantly to users, super fast, and then while users are browsing that content, we can load a PWA in the background, and users can then convert from the AMP page to the PWA and have a rich interactive experience. It's a great way to keep your users engaged. All right, so that's what we're doing with the web. I want to talk to you a little bit about Android for a few minutes. It's really hard for me to wrap my head around the sheer scale of Android, whether we're talking about the users that are engaged with it, the number of devices in the ecosystem, or just its sheer global presence. As Scott mentioned, it's the most popular mobile operating system in the world, with over 1.4 billion people engaging with it. Now, we're hard at work at making Android better. And in August of this year, we just rolled out to consumers the latest version of Android called Nougat, in a gradual rollout. I want to highlight some of the new features that this release brings with it, because it's got a lot of great stuff for both consumers and developers. These features include multi-window support, which is a feature that enables users to run two apps on the screen at the same time in a split-screen mode. It also gives enhanced notifications. And by this, I mean we now support actions in a standard way within the notifications. It's easier than ever for developers to change the look and feel of these notifications, and related notifications are bundled together with Nougat. Also, I want to talk to you about enhanced doze mode. So in Marshmallow, we introduced something called doze mode, which is a low-power state. When the device's screen is off and it's laying flat on a table, we enter this special doze mode that saves battery. And with Nougat, we're extending it further so that when the screen is off but the device is in motion, like in your pocket, we trigger this low battery state. And finally, Nougat includes Vulkan, which is a new industry-standard low-level graphics API that delivers advanced performance on the latest hardware. Nougat also introduces another major feature I want to tell you about. VR. So we've been playing with VR for a while. 2 years ago, we launched Google Cardboard, and it's done a fantastic job at giving people a taste of what VR can be like through short-form experiences that work on iOS and Android. And frankly, the adoption and success of Cardboard has surpassed our expectations. So with Nougat, we're introducing a new platform that we call Daydream that takes our vision of affordable, ubiquitous VR to the next level. Daydream's comprised of 3 key elements. It introduces a standard for new Android handsets that ensures that they can deliver immersive, high-quality VR experiences. It also includes a reference design for a high-quality VR headset that's powered by a Daydream handset, and it includes a reference design for, we call it a positionally aware controller that knows where it is and that users can use to engage in these immersive virtual environments. We launched the first Daydream-compatible device, the Pixel phone by Google, earlier this year in the fall, and we also launched our own Daydream headset and controller. More devices are coming in early 2017 from partners like Huawei, and you can start developing for Daydream today. We've also partnered with Unity to make it easy for you to create new immersive virtual worlds for people to engage with. And developers like NetEase are already creating apps for the Daydream platform. Out on the floor, we've got a few Daydream headsets out there, and I encourage you to go out and engage with these and play with them. I think you'll find they're really cool. All right, so the best way to actually develop for Android is with Android Studio, our official Android IDE. You can download it today from the Android developer site on the China domain that we just launched. We recently updated Android Studio to version 2.2, and we focus these updates around 3 major themes: speed, smarts, and Android platform support. I'll just summarize these briefly. For speed, you can develop faster with a new feature that we're introducing called the new Layout Designer. Now, for ages, we've been hand-coding our layouts on Android, and this designer makes it really, really easy to create complex layouts that resize to all sorts of different screen sizes and adapt to orientation changes. And it does it with a new intuitive layout design interface. It is really, really nice. You should check it out. In terms of smarter, Android Studio 2.2 includes our new APK analyzer, an enhanced layout inspector, expanded code analysis, the latest IntelliJ features, and much more. And finally, as the official IDE for the Android platform, Android Studio 2.2 includes support for all the latest developer features in Android Nougat, like code completion to help you implement multi-window support, or the redesigned notifications that I talked to you about just a moment ago. And it includes faster than ever built-in Android emulators for you to test all this stuff out. Once you've made a fantastic app, Google Play is the best way to make your app available globally. Google Play had more than 65 billion apps installed just last year. It's creating a phenomenal market for Android developers to build globally successful businesses. And as Scott mentioned earlier, Chinese developers are seeing great success introducing their apps to the global marketplace through Google Play. With these updates to the web and to the Android platform, we're increasing the capabilities of what you can do on mobile devices. I now want to talk to you a little bit about what we're doing to make it easier for you to develop experiences on top of these platforms. To do that, I'd like to introduce a colleague of mine, Naomi Black, to talk to you about an open source project that we've developed at Google called Angular that's received a lot of traction here in China. With that, I'll turn it over to Naomi. Thank you.
下面有请 Angular 项目负责人 Naomi Black 女士上台。Please welcome to the stage, lead for Angular, Naomi Black.
"大家好，我是 Naomi， 我是 Angular 的I'm sorry, I'm missing some of my notes. 对不起，我是 Angular 的产品经理。Angular 是 Google 的一个开源项目。Hi, I'm Naomi. I'm one of the leads on Google's open source Angular project. Back in 2009, when client-side development was still new, we created Angular to help developers. Our goal was a framework that could make web development easier. Since then, we've seen tremendous growth with Angular, with millions of developers around the world, and thousands of apps built with the framework. In China, we know Angular is well loved. Visitors from China are the second largest segment of our developer population. Because of the enthusiasm of the developer community here, and thanks to our dedicated team of Chinese contributors, this year we launched Angular's first localized site, angular.cn, where you can find Chinese versions of all our developer guides and our growing WeChat community. We also have a Chinese language talk this afternoon on local adoption from our China developer PM, Zhang Xiaofei, with some of our partners, HiR Group, ZTE Soft, and Guangfa Zhenjuan, presenting their experience in Angular. To the many Angular developers here today, I want to say thank you. It is so exciting to be here in China, and we're here because of you. To those of you here who don't know Angular yet, let me introduce the framework, our history, and some of the problems we're solving. We started Angular 7 years ago as a framework to make client-side developers more productive. Our team gained years of experience in knowing what it takes to build and support a front-end framework and make it fast and performant. The web has changed tremendously since Angular began. This September, we released a new Angular, rebuilt for modern cross-platform development. Today, I'm going to cover what is included in Angular for developing applications for mobile, desktop, and web. So first, let me talk about how we've made Angular more modular by better defining Angular's core. The core APIs provide a foundation that you need to build all apps. Angular's core APIs include declarative templating that allows you to use standard HTML and Angular markup to create powerful UIs, automatic change detection, dependency injection, improved from our pioneering implementation in Angular 1, an intuitive component model that allows you to structure your apps with reusable architecture and natural separation of concerns, and our new compiler, which is capable of static analysis, giving you not only small and fast apps, but also improved error messaging and automatic refactoring. The ability to swap renderers, so you get true DOM independence, and you can target platforms where no DOM exists. And this is really critical for mobile. Beyond these foundational building blocks, There are many more things that we know most applications will need. For example, UI components. We knew that we could make developers more productive by providing APIs for these use cases, but we also wanted to keep Angular flexible. So you can choose as developers. Use our implementation, you can write your own, or you can find one of the options out there in our growing ecosystem. So among the additions we have in Angular, we now have Angular Material, which is a toolbox of beautiful design UI components. So you can go from zero app to beautiful app really fast. We have IE10N APIs for your internationalization needs. We've brought a powerful forms module for quickly developing user input forms with validation. We have animations so that your apps look and respond with style, and users will enjoy using them. And last, we have ng Upgrade, which allows you to mix and match old and new Angular components in the same application, so that if you're one of the millions of Angular 1 developers, you can migrate at your own pace. So I've talked about the building blocks of Angular. What about all the other places that you need your apps to run? First, Angular is great for progressive web apps. We have a full talk from developer advocate Stephen Fluin on this in the mobile web track later today. And for many consumer apps, an App Store presence is essential. So we've partnered with Ionic and with Onsen UI, two solutions that let you use all of the goodness of web technologies, but then package that up for the App Store presence. If you prefer native, Telerik's native script works by swapping out our renderer for one that can render to a native mobile OS. And this is possible because of Angular's DOM-independent renderer. Finally, for the desktop, with GitHub's Electron, you can build in Angular and take advantage of all the machine resources. If you've used VS Code, that's an Electron app. So, as with native mobile, there are more places where there is no DOM, and we wanted Angular to run there too. So Angular now includes server-side rendering, so that the server can render our component's view. This currently works in Node and ASP.NET today, and the new Angular can deploy to many platforms. So I've talked about the building blocks of Angular and where your apps can run. But what about the tools that you use as a developer? You can write an Angular application using plain ES5 or ES6 JavaScript. But we think that most developers will want to use TypeScript. We like TypeScript because it makes it a lot easier to write and think about Angular applications. We actually used TypeScript to write Angular ourselves. And I would love to tell you the beautiful engineering story that happened when the love between our two open source projects at Microsoft and at Google came together. But I'm going to save that for our TypeScript talk, our TypeScript in Angular talk this afternoon, which we are co-presenting in Chinese and in English with Microsoft engineer Li Zhangbo from the TypeScript team. So why did Angular adopt TypeScript for our own code? First, we could write code and find bugs faster. The readability of our code in TypeScript was greatly improved. And this was critical because we had many engineers working together in many different parts of the framework, and they needed to quickly understand what the other engineers had done. They found they could collaborate much more easily. And we found that we could easily build much better tooling, like Angular CLI. So with Angular's command line interface, you can type ng new, and we'll create all the scaffolding and all the boilerplate for you, so that when finally these commands finish running, you can simply type ng serve. Then you move over to your local browser, and your app will magically be there, fully functional, so that you can focus on application logic, not on the boilerplate. The CLI is one way that we're investing in tooling to make it easier for you to write Angular code. We also provide Protractor, which enables full end-to-end testing. Angular also works great. Angular also works great with your favorite IDE, and will give you helpful error messaging and refactoring tips. Last, our partners at Wrangle.io have built a tool called Angular Augury. Augury gives you real-time insight into performance and things like routing in your app, so you can debug and see what's happening in your app much faster. This is just a taste of what the new Angular can do today for mobile, desktop, and the web, and how we improve developer productivity. We hope that you'll join us in the sessions later today to learn more, and look for the Angular apps on the App Showcase board on the 3rd floor. So now I'd like to introduce my colleague Ben to come back on stage. 谢谢.
Thank you, Naomi. That's fantastic. So, as excited as I am about all the new developments that we've shared you this morning around Android and the web, you know, it's still quite a lot of work to create a high-quality mobile experience on top of these platforms. Part of that reason is because user expectations continue to raise from what they want to see from a high-quality app. We know this firsthand because at Google, we've created some of the world's most popular mobile apps, and we've learned a lot in the process, and we've built a lot of infrastructure to support those applications. Some time ago, we decided to take some of the internal infrastructure that we'd built, along with our experience, and package it up together in a way that we could share with other developers. And we decided to go beyond the web and Android and offer solutions to help iOS developers as well, which was natural for us because we're iOS developers ourselves. The result is something that we call Firebase. We shipped it earlier this year at Google I/O. It's a comprehensive set of tools to make it easier to create high-quality mobile apps on iOS, on Android, or the web. It has many features, such as free and unlimited app analytics, crash reporting, asset hosting with CDN integration automatically provided. It's also got a powerful remote configuration service that lets you adapt what your application does on the fly, and much more. Each of these features is designed to be used standalone. You can take just what you want, but we've also designed these features to work really well together. For example, in Firebase Analytics, you can define groups of users called audiences, and then reuse these audiences in Firebase Remote Config to change the way your app behaves for different groups. Or you can send messages to these different groups of users, to these audiences, using Firebase notifications. One of my favorite integrations is between Firebase crash reporting and analytics, because when your users experience a crash, heaven forbid, you see a breadcrumb trail of all the analytics events that occurred leading up to that crash, right in the crash reporting tool, without the need to do further analysis. It's pretty cool. Since we released this in May, over 750,000 projects have been created on the Firebase platform. And since launch, we've shipped a steady stream of improvements and new features to our developers. I can't wait for you to learn more about Firebase today, about how it can help you build great apps, grow your user base, and earn more money. Our vision here is to free up more of your time so that you can spend it on creating innovative new features for your users and not reproduce infrastructure that other people have already created. We've got a bunch of sessions today that go into depth on these features and how Chinese developers such as Yicall have used features like Firebase Analytics and Remote Config to power their own global applications. We're deeply committed to this space, and we look forward to delivering many more enhancements to Firebase in the years to come. Finally, before I go, there's one last topic I want to cover: machine learning. Machine learning, or ML for short, is at the heart of many of the magical software features that we've shipped in Google products recently. It's also what enabled AlphaGo to defeat Go champion Lee Sedol earlier this year, which was a tremendous technical achievement, well beyond what many thought was the state of the art for our industry by many, many years. And I'm thrilled that we've made this same ML framework that we use internally at Google available to you through an open source project called TensorFlow. TensorFlow works by giving you a way to define a data model and then use that model to analyze large amounts of data. And it's these large data sets that enable your TensorFlow model to identify patterns. And these patterns lead to these magic-like inferences that can be identifying people in a photo or extracting the meaning from a body of text. Our CEO, Sundar Pichai, frequently talks about how Google is now becoming an AI-first company. And it's technologies like TensorFlow that are behind this transition and some of our latest products and most exciting features. I'm really pleased that today, at the event, you'll have the opportunity to attend sessions that go into more detail on TensorFlow. An example of one of the products that we're shipping that's powered by machine learning is the new Google Assistant, our conversation-oriented platform that's embedded in several of our consumer products, like Google Home and Pixel. Back in October, we announced that we'd be partnering with the developer community by creating an integration platform for the Google Assistant. We call this Actions on Google, and the first version of this platform is launching just a little bit later this month. We also acquired recently a company called API.ai, which creates a web-based platform that makes it really easy for you to create compelling conversation experiences that work not just on the Google Assistant, but on many of the other conversation platforms that are emerging in today's market. Real, viable conversational interfaces are an exciting new frontier for our industry. And I'm super excited that we can go on this journey together. Stay tuned to our WeChat account for further developments as this space evolves rapidly. And we have Google Home here in the sandbox that you can check out today. All right, thank you for joining us. Today is our opportunity to work together to learn about all these technologies. We have over 35 breakout sessions that go even deeper in all the stuff that I've mentioned. We've got a demo area where you can speak with many Googlers and some of our developer partners who've been creating apps in the ecosystem. And we have a special app showcase area. This is a tradition for our GDD events, where we've highlighted 50 apps that showcase the amazing innovations that Chinese developers are bringing to the global market. I speak for all of us here at Google when I tell you we are so excited to be here and to be working with you. And we want to partner with you to help you achieve success as you create great apps and build global businesses. 谢谢.
感谢您参加本次 Google 开发者大会。分会场将于10点30分开始，场地及会议安排请参见胸卡。Thank you for joining us. Breakout sessions will begin shortly. Please see your badge for room locations and schedule.